Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. I'm Southside and joining me on the show this evening is AK and the legend, the Bridgeman. How are you, gentlemen?
Evening Southside, evening Bridgeman, a techie team and everybody that's listening.
Well, can I say a big good evening to yourself, Southside, and of course AK and the techie boys in the background. And can I just say to all the Rangers fans that are listening in here this evening, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio.
Aye, I'll say good evening to the trips that are on the YouTube feed already and, for the show this evening, and also to everybody else on Facebook, MixLR and whatever other device you're listening to. Hope you enjoy the show and good evening. How are you, Bridgeman?
Oh, I'm a lot happier than after the game, you know. In fact, I think the whole of that game I was still tenterhooks, but no, really and truly, very delighted with the result. We could have won it. Should have won it. In fact, should have won is the word I should have said. But I'm happy. I'm a happy man.
Aye, did you enjoy the sun today, Shine? Were you doing anything interesting?
No. I was doing some work for my wife, if you forget what I mean.
Be counting her money then, I take it.
No, just housework.
How are you, AK? I know I seen you on Sunday, but were you recovering?
I was working today, but I was a wee bit rough yesterday, pal. With our exertions on the Saturday, but it was good meeting everybody. Sure, we might speak a bit of old Davey that comes in, but I will be speaking a bit again first.
You can elaborate if you want. It was good to see the audience, I suppose. It was good for them to turn up and meet everybody, and it was good to see him. And your pal, I think you met your pal and all. He stayed that long and he had to buy around.
He usually was almost staying for 2 and he was still there 2 hours later. His wife had to drag him at the bar. Brilliant. Good to see wee Stuarty again there and the Partick Bowling Club. Cracking wee club, and it was really nice to see everybody. And all day we went home with quite a few boxes and packets of Maltesers in his back pocket and all. So I'm sure he'll still be tucking into them.
Aye, it was a good wee night out. It was a good wee finish to the end of the night and all, with some nice tunes done, and where we ended up, it was a good night. I think everybody enjoyed it. Sunday wasn't the best to get up for early morning, but at the end of the day you had to turn up. It was a game against them, I thought we started off quick at the weekend there, Bridgeman. We could have been 1-0 up after the first minute, if we're honest. Balogun should probably have put it in the net. Yeah,
100% agree with that. I thought we looked good. Our shape was good, particularly going through the first half. For big chunks, we were really looking good. I like them when they play. I think everybody does. They like our team to play the high press and get up the park and show a wee bit of endeavour up there. It's when we sit back, we don't have the quality at the back to be able to successfully get rid of all the problems when you're at the back. They've got, or they had, 3 flying machines up front, and it showed. Many times we got beat for pace. Goalkeeper brought up a couple of nice saves or blocks, and it saved us. So yeah, I really enjoyed the result. I was just sorry we never won, and I'm sorry that McGregor never got sent off. That was a shocker.
I think probably when we started the game, like I said, if Balogun, he rose well, he was free in the box. Mm-hmm. And probably for the first 15 minutes, anyway, in the game, I thought we had the better chances. You know, they broke up the park later on, Bridge, but at the time, I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, AK, I thought with a free header on the box, you'd expect him to hit the target when you put plenty of power behind it.
Aye, it was actually well worked. Tavernier fun Balogun himself in the box, and you're expecting Balogun, a good header, a boy that he is, to get it at least on target. There was certainly plenty of power behind it, and I think he went for power more than placement. And they were stunned. If that goes in, well, what a start to the game that would have been. But I really unlucky, as you say. Tierney had a good shot as well, kind of early in the or midway.
I was just about to come to that one. I was just about to come to
it. We were right on top at that point in the game. I thought we started really well, pal.
Aye, there was, as you were talking about.
Tifo goat is gone. I think the Tifo goat is gone, pal.
Everybody loves Star Wars, don't they? That's all I'll say on it.
Oh,
what was I going to say? It was a good break with the chance you were talking about with Tierney. It was nice play with Bizrami and Tierney to start with. And he managed to knock it up to Raskin, who managed to just knock it across. And it takes a deflection, obviously takes the sting out of the shot. I'd like to have Noel took the deflection. I know it caused the goalie problems. He managed to put it over the bar bridge, but it was the two chances straight away in the game that I thought if we hadn't took a deflection, it looked like the ball was going into the bottom corner, or the goalkeeper had to move across to save it.
Yeah, I think it was a smashing chance, and we did it. Only there was a block on the ball, and it took a deflection, and it went higher. And I was very unfortunate, or they were very fortunate. The goalkeepers on the ball, particularly on the ball, shall we say, he managed to tip it over the bar. I thought that was a tremendous thing, but really, really good play by Rangers all the way up there. Marvellous. I was so happy when we did that. I would always be happy when we're attacking. We're a better team when we're attacking.
Because I thought the shape as well, going to a back four, AK, did that surprise you when you seen the team?
No, I actually called for it on the Friday night. I think we'd kind of spoke about it. I know you thought it would go with the same 3 or the 5, but I think that's actually caused us more bother. We seem to be indecisive in defence and knowing what roles to play and what man to mark. So going back to the back four, I think, was a good thing for the team, and everybody kind of knew their roles. It looked solid, the formation. And I think territorially, we certainly seemed to dominate for me in the midfield in particular. I thought we were really good in there.
Aye, I thought that myself. I thought Bizrami done the job filling in between their centre backs and Owen McGregor. But it looked like we sort of played a diamond shape in midfield at times. But I thought we came out early, Bridge, and like I say, we had the early chance for Balogun. We've had that shot that took a deflection, it's looked up for a goalie to save, and it wasn't long after that again Raskin got in the box for a Tav cross, and he headed it down into the goalie's left hand corner, but he got down to save it. But it was a good header for Raskin, because they had about 6 players in the area, and he isn't very big, but he managed to get the leap and get a header on the ball.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with Raskin. They had got no idea what to do with him when he was on the play. He was really good running forward. Held the ball, got a bit of pace in him, and they tried everything normally that you would normally try as a defender to stop him legally. But they tried to do him. I'll tell you that now a couple of times. But really, I think he's a smashing wee player, and when he's attacking like that, he's really, really effective. Really effective, and he runs forever, doesn't he? He just runs and runs and runs.
Likes to get and break up play, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's good on the ball. He seems to be able to, like, if a player's sort of running by him, as he's running back, he just seems to come across him and put his side, which he should do, take the goal side of the ball. And he seems to win a lot of tackles and that. And sometimes his passing's no great, but he certainly works hard, doesn't he?
Oh, his play certainly picked up this year. I think Barry maybe giving him that wee bit more freedom to be that kind of dominator in the middle of the park. I think maybe under the previous managers, he's had a specific role today. So I think Barry's maybe gave him that wee bit more freedom, and he's took it on the leadership. You can see him. You know, Cal McGregor was in Walsh's ear all day. Well, I tell you, Raskin wasn't far behind him, telling them, no, this is how it is, and you know, you're not getting your way all day. I think Raskin is really kind of embraced that leadership role in the midfield. But I tell you, well backed up with Diamandi and Barn, I thought, as well. I think the two of them were industrious and clever on the ball as well. Barn, obviously, he's got defensive duties in that, and he'll, you know, scurry about and looking for the ball and shutting down spaces and things. Diamandi's looking to link up play, so it certainly looked at a good three in there. And Bezrami was a wee bit innocuous for me. Obviously, he's got a role today for the team. Maybe sit on McGregor and don't let him play. So if you look at it from that perspective, he probably done his job for the team. But in comparison to the other three, he wasn't as much a standout for me.
I think yesterday you could tell we gave up the wings in wide areas at times, and sometimes it was easier for them to sort of put the ball out wide. Obviously, Taylor was overlapping inside, coming inside and putting an extra man in the midfield. But I thought for the majority of the first half, we sort of done well. We had the chances. We were trying to get up the park and create, and then obviously we'll get to the disallowed goal that we get for the free kick. Before we score, we obviously have that free kick. But I thought, up to then, I thought we were the one that were creating chances. Obviously, later on, Kelly has a save that will come to, and obviously they walked through our midfield at one point, and Ida ran through, and Kelly saves it. But on the whole, I thought our midfield worked quite well. I thought Bezrami done well. I thought, as AK said there, Bridgman, Conor Barron was running about, brightening out play, making himself available for the ball. And I thought Tierney was drawing in and was linking up the play with Diamandi at times. So I thought midfield-wise at the start we were doing well enough.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy with them. The way we started, most assuredly, and we caught a lot of balls that you never thought we were going to get. And Diamandi was very active and up for it, you know. And when he moves up, and it's just inside the opposition half. And he's pushing the others to go further up, you know. We become a different team. We can find players, we can find the space, and we can find the players in the space, and so on and so forth, which we did. And I thought it was great. I thought the crowd loved it. It was really, really good. However, we know what weaknesses are, and that changes, and then all of a sudden it swings back the other way, and before you know it, we're back in our own half, and they've got 11 players. Of 11 Celtic players up in their half, or 10 rather. So it's quite difficult to be able to maintain this attacking part of the game is very, very difficult, and we haven't quite mastered that yet. With these players we've got, we might never master that, but that's the kind of thing we've got to master. But you know, other than that, I thought very happy, very happy.
What did you think of the VAR decision, AK, for the goal that was scored? I think it was correctly given.
Obviously, it again, no, for your point of view. But to be fair, the guy, one of the guys standing next to me, kind of said Diamandi's offside there, by the way. But when you see it back, he wasn't interfering with play. So I was hopeful that the lines would be in our favour, but the VAR team deemed him to be Raskin was offside. He wasn't offside when he actually headed the ball, but he gave himself a start on the defence. And by the way, it's minimal, it's inches. I've heard the different platforms, Sky and what have you, the referee saying that the lines weren't drawn properly. But I don't know. But certainly inside the stadium, there was a buzz, obviously, when we take the lead and then it goes flat. And I think Celtic took a wee bit of, strength for that. But aye, it's one of them. You could have got it just as easy as they did negate, but we don't get many VR decisions now, do we?
Aye, obviously, you wouldn't have seen it, Bridge, for where you sit. But where I was sitting, it looked slightly as if we had players that looked slightly ahead as the ball was getting about to get played in the box. I know they run in and all that, but the general consensus round about me was it would probably be flagged for offside. I've seen it back when he headers the ball, he's no offside, but I think they would probably go it right. The general consensus round about me was there would probably be somebody offside in there because you could see the blue jersey, you know.
Well, I'm not quite as I don't have it quite as cut and dried as you guys. There was 2 VAR decisions and they both went in Celtic's favour. Let's put it that way. And the referee wasn't very good to Rangers. None of the officials were very good to Rangers through the game, in my opinion. Yeah, if you look at it one way, see it. I've watched it twice now. You watch that and you can see he is offside. So I can't argue too much with it. But when it comes to a decision, a VAR decision, they could easily have given that as a goal. Easily have given as a goal. But there's a few other things that they didn't do for Rangers as well, right through the game. So I can't comment too much other than what I've said.
It was tight. I'll say it was tight, but I didn't think we were going to get it. And even as I'm saying that, and then we'll come to it, when Maeda scored, when Aida scores, I didn't think that. I thought straight away that Maeda was offside because you're there at the game. So, like they're talking about 2 VAR decisions. But aye, at that point, it didn't hamper the game. We were on the front foot, but it allowed them their first chance in the game because they got up the park just about a couple of 5 minutes after that, and they get a corner, which Kelly makes a good save. It ended up Carter Vickers got up above Balogun, I think it was, with a leap. You'd expect to go to save it, but it was on target, AK, and he done well.
Aye, certainly. And you'd Ida stunning and Kelly's toes for that one as well. So it'd have been interesting if it did go in, whether we would have got a foul for Ida, you know, obstructing the goalie. But Kelly managed to put a hand up and palmed it onto the bar. But aye, that was kind of Celtic's probably first straight in the entire game. But it just shows you that how good they can be for set pieces. But it was a good save for Kelly.
Was that the one where did we not get a free kick for that? It was Carter Vickers. It was leaning on Balogun.
He might have gave a foul. I don't think he did at the game. I'm not sure. I just thought.
I think that's what they got the foul. Free kick was for. I think it was a free kick
possibly,
to us.
Possibly.
No, just
the goalkeeper palmed it over, didn't he?
Yep.
Aye, that's right. Aye, it was been your end.
It was a free kick for that for me. We got a free kick for him. You can see it in a replay. A couple of times seen the replay. His right elbow comes in and smacks him, you know. Anyway, yes, like every game that we've played this season, just about every game we've played this season, or maybe even the last 2 seasons, we are not very good at free kicks and throw-ins and balls getting bombed down the wing and cross. We are very, very poor, and that has to change. We have to get better.
I think listen, it was the one chance for a corner. I thought wasted the time we coped with the corners, to be perfectly honest. It was the one I remembered in the first half. Like I said, bits of play, they did get up the park a bit at times and come up the park, but it was a final ball in and we seemed to be able to deal with it. During that first half, they had bits of play where they were going down the wings, but I thought in the first half, especially, Tav kept Maeda quiet, and obviously Forrest was kept quite quiet for Jeffy. The only thing that alarmed me was after the corner was they made it was a similar goal to we scored at St Mirren. Carter Vickers played a ball into the midfield to Hatate, and what I seen straight away was Diamondi was sleeping. He was about 5 yards off him. And Hatate just played a through ball through straight to Aida, running off Suter. But Kelly came out and made a good save. And really in the first half, apart from the header and that chance, that's all really I remember them doing in the first half, to be honest, AK.
Aye, you're right, mate. You're right, and it was a simple move. It was straight down the middle of the park, as you say, and for him to be 1-on-1 with the keeper, basically with Souttar trailing after him. Kelly made himself big and made the save. It would have been gut wrenching to lose a goal at that point, particularly when you were pretty much well on top. I don't know what the possession stats of that were saying at that time of the game, but I just thought we were 70 or 80% of the game, it seemed anyway, and certainly had the better chances as well. So, but Kelly made a good save to keep it at 0-0, and then came our moment of glory.
Aye, Bridget was shocking when it allowed them to play right through the middle of our team. Players just switching off probably, and Diamondi should have been tighter to Hatate. So obviously wandered into that space, and he's no tracked him. And then he just played a first time ball to Aida. So it was a big chance for them in the game at that time. And Kelly ended up managing to save it without any problem.
Yeah, I think Diamondi's got a habit of doing that. You know, he's in the game, and then all of a sudden he kind of falls out it, and he's looking around. He can't see anything. For whatever reason, he can't see anything. One thing I would say about him is that traditionally, people in the midfield, playing in the midfield, if any of you guys have played in midfield, you can read the game, and you know what's happening around about you. Always, a midfielder always knows what's happening around about him. Well, I'm afraid Diamondi at times doesn't know what's happening about him, and hence the reason why he looks as if he's just standing there or trotting back or whatever, and all of a sudden they come whizzing past him, and he creates a gap, an easy gap for offensive players. Lovely pass that was, and two great passes, and that guy, he's through, and luckily a goalkeeper does the business. But seriously, these are the weaknesses we've had for a number of years now, because of whatever reason. It might be the way we're playing, but I don't want to denigrate any of the players too much. But it might be the system that we're playing, but I don't think so. I think as your words a bit earlier, and AK, it looks as if they seem to go a wee lull in their mind, and all of a sudden they wake up and they're 10 yards away from the ball, 20 yards away from the ball. It's gone. All the plays past them. That should never happen to a midfielder. A midfielder should be in there at all parts of the game, depending on his position, So you get defensive and you get attacking. So if you're a defensive midfielder, anything that's happening near your defensive area, you should know what's happening. Now, you don't be able to do anything about it, but you should know what's happening. I'm afraid the Diamondi sometimes doesn't know what's happening.
I thought when we get to the goal, I thought it was a good bit of play. Obviously, Bezrami got the ball short for the edge of the box. Celtic had been on the attack. I think they put a ball in the box and it get blocked and came out to Bezrami. And I thought Bezrami done well. He opened the play up and got it out wide to Czerny, AK, who cut it. When he comes back in, he lays it off to Barron, and then he switches it straight to Diamondi. And then obviously, I was watching it last night, when you actually looked at it, Bezrami was right out in the right-hand side free and made 2-on-2 with Czerny and Dessers. And it was a good ball, good dummy for Czerny. And Big Dessers holds off Scales and goes the other side of the goalkeeper and finishes it. Usually gets criticised for positions like that in times, but he certainly finished it well.
That was a well-worked move, well described, pal. A really good intricate play to open them up. And as you say, the final bits of the jigsaw was Diamondi. Thought it was Czerny was going to take it in, but he opened his legs and dummied it, and all of a sudden Dessers was in a goal-scoring position, held off Scales, as you say, and kind of cut it across the keeper to nestle in the bottom, the back of the net. And Ibrox went nuts. It was great to score again.
I thought it was a good goal, Bridge. I thought the way we played it and worked it. There was 4 or 5 players involved, and obviously Czerny gets involved in the second phase of the play, and is also up there with 2-on-2 against the Celtic defence. So it was, and Bezrami got himself up the park wide right. So I thought even their movement after the two initial part, they were up there involved, and the ball could have easily been switched to Bezrami. There'd been 1-on-1 with the goalie himself. So I thought they all worked hard to get the ball apart, but kept running, followed the play.
Oh yes, that was a brilliant goal, by the way. Absolutely brilliant goal. Dessers again. He somehow came alive when that ball came to him, and he managed to hold his man off and get that wee yard on him. And a beautiful cross the goalkeeper shot. Wonderful. And you think to yourself, he got chances to do these things in a lot of games and he can't do it. But here he does it yesterday. And that, I have to be honest, I think that's maybe only touched the ball about a dozen or 2 dozen times and did nothing with it other than score that goal. I think that, but a great goal, nevertheless, for Rangers, a brilliant goal and a good start. That meant a good start for us. So, what can you say? The rest of the guys played brilliantly in the make-up. Every single one of them, from the time we broke for the defence with the ball and it came right through. Bajrami, who's really quick and he can do the business, and he involves in a couple of players, and before you know it, there's a beautiful ball put through, and of course, lovely move by the winger. It steps over the ball and it runs straight to Dessers. Just fantastic, wonderful to play. It's a long time we've seen Rangers being so adventurous like that. Well, it seems that way to me, and I thought it was a great move, marvellous move by 5 or 6 players involved, and a wonderful finish. Well done, Dessers, and well done all the rest of the guys for doing it.
Aye, so one's going to lead half-time 1-0. I thought overall, talking to a few people, I was talking to Oxon at half-time as well, and I thought we deserved to win at half-time, AK, in the lead.
Oh, 100%, mate, 100%. And just say, barring inches, with a VAR decision, we could have been 2-0 and near enough out of sight. We were well on top, well in control, and I think Celtic were rattled. But I knew you just knew they were going to respond, didn't you? They've got a lot of quality on their bench, and it was just a matter of who was going to get the next goal, basically, to seal the game.
Aye, and I thought the goal that we lose, I thought we sat off them a bit. We allowed them to sort of pass the wee passes in the middle of the park, across the park. And obviously, Taylor chips one for Maeda down the line, which normally we had done well in the both flanks for most of the game. And it was just that one thing. And then Suter comes across, he's kicked it, it's hit off Maeda, and it's come spilled into your box, and Aida's the one that reacts and gets a shot. And I'll be honest, when it hit the net and I'm looking across the park, all I could see at that time is Maeda clearly standing in the 6-yard box on the line, all by himself, well offside. So I thought, for where I'm sitting and where I'm looking at and where the ball's went, and I'm thinking, right, obviously we'd have come up with a VAR decision. And at that time, because you're only seeing it for the first time at that time in the stadium, I'm thinking, well, he'll probably go offside. So that's what I was waiting on. I don't know if you were, Bridge, at that time, because where you're sitting, you'll see clearly as well, probably from where he is, that he's standing in the 6-yard box himself. Would you know?
100%. And offside, and the linesman's flag went up for offside. Referee blew for offside. But what can you say? What can you say? It goes to VAR, and I just said it a couple of minutes ago there. It goes to VAR, and what happens? It goes to the Celtic. So basically another decision against Rangers. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. So that could have went either way that easily, because if he's standing there and he must be, shall we say, impeding the goalkeepers, right? Because the ball went past them, getting into the net. You know what I mean? The ball was deflected by Suter's arm, and when it went out the way, the keeper had no chance of getting it. And it went between the keeper and him into the net. So that's the way I see it. That was offside for me. He's offside, and there's absolutely no way he's not interfering with play. He's there. He's standing virtually on the line, maybe a yard out. But I don't understand how they can say these things. So there you go. We have to accept it because of our situation in Scotland. For me, that decision should have gone to the Rangers and not the Celtic.
What's your thoughts on it, AK? Obviously, you're sitting at the other side and all. You'll probably have similar view.
Aye, where all Bear sits, as you know, it's a cracking seat that he's got there, and thanks again, wee man, for giving us that. I'll reciprocate it in the future. But we were all in kind of disbelief. Obviously, we see the linesman flag going up, and you automatically see Maeda, as you say, looking for the, if Kelly says it or it hits the post, who's going to be first to react? It's got to be Maeda. So how they can say that he isn't interfering with play is beyond me. But it just seems to be a wee bit of what Bridgman's saying. They're looking for reasons to rule out a Rangers goal, whether they're looking for reasons to give a Celtic goal. That's how it looks now, because it's happened too many times. You go back to Bilbao in the UEFA Cup game, Europa League game there. They're no giving us a decision through VAR there, but then Man United get basically the same thing the next week, and it's a red card, it's a penalty. League Cup, we don't get the VAR decision there. Frank Connor, who was running the line yesterday, he's the one right away going, no, that's never a penalty, never. So they're no giving us it. And then you go back to Desser's last year, and we intercepts the ball and they give a foul for that. He scores a goal, the 3-each game, they go back 6 phases of play. They're looking for a reason not to give Rangers things. For me, it's cheating, mate. It's cheating, corruption, and it's open corruption. They're not even hiding it. But this is what we've got in Scotland, and this is what we've got running their game. So the 49ers come into our game, they need to sort this out, because it's beyond a joke.
I thought he looked clearly in the road. He's not right in his line of vision, but he's there and he must see him, and I'll be honest, I was expecting him to flag it for offside, and I seen later it took a deflection off.
He did flag it. The linesman did flag for it. Offside.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew Dallas was in VAR. He's the one that overturned it.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm only saying that all the decisions were for Rangers, and it was reversed.
Even Clancy was fourth official and all. I was surprised at that. Had the full boon out yesterday.
Yeah. Full boon, I love it.
Wally Colm was playing his A-team to make sure we were never winning that game.
I was on the cards. We weren't going to allow to win that game. First decision they had to make, they would let them back into the game at all. That was the very first decision that they had to make, and it was down to them. And with the day they gave it to them. That's all. And I'll echo what Alex Kelly said, and I've been saying for quite a long time. And not just me. Many Rangers fans are feeling it. There is something going on, or something has gone on, and it's just nonsense, utter nonsense. Seriously, they have to get it. It has to get sorted out. It's just daft. That's just mental. Sorry, I'm not winning on again. Started again. Sorry.
No, I don't think there wasn't really many tackles in the game. I mean, the one I thought I could clearly see from where I sat. Tav won the ball on the halfway line. He wins the ball, he knocks it away, and he gives a foul. So he does. And I thought there was a few tackles that he could maybe have went in and spoke to players and chose not to. It didn't surprise me. But there wasn't any sort of tackles, AK, or that you could have said, oh, something there. There was wee niggly fouls and stuff, wasn't there?
Well, the one that sticks in my mind, because it was right in front of the Govan stand, is Carter Vickers went in 2-footed, base straight leg, didn't even give a foul. Celtic had 16 fouls yesterday. 1 yellow card for a wee boy, 90th minute, where he kicks it away. The first yellow card he gives is to our manager. The second card he gives is for Bailey Rice's first challenge. Cal McGregor was hands-on with Raskin, right in front of the referee, pushed him. He was in his ear constantly. And no yellow card. Maeda does it, always leaves a fit in. McGregor gets away with murder in these games, because he's a wee bit like Brown for them. Untouchable with referees. They dictate the game. They have the influence on the referee. How many times did they hold on to the ball? Didn't he give it back? No mind Raskin getting clattered a couple of times as well. Nothing given. So that it's, you just look at the stats and that. Listen, I hate all this conspiracy theory nonsense, but see when you're seeing it happen time and time and time again, it's not right, mate. So it needs called out.
Seen the boy that produced the stats in the Fair Play League, you know, and he said like the team with the least bookings, and they might turn around and go, "Aye, well, we don't kick anybody, right? We'll get that nonsense." But there was one I noticed, I can't remember who it was, but one of them, it's petty, innit? It's just petty nonsense. But when the ball's sitting there for you to be able to go out and get it for the throw in, and one of your players runs out and kicks it after a thing where we're meant to go and get it, you would think your ref would just have looked at it and booked him for stupidity. Do you know what I mean? But you've not allowed that to go on all yesterday. But that aside, obviously we brought on Ignaman for Vasclav Cherny, and we brought on Hadji for Bezrami. Would you have took Cherny off? Do you think it influenced it when the ball was 10 yards away from him and he didn't go for it? Bridge and the whole stadium erupted.
For me, you're speaking of taking Cherny off.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it should never have been taken off. It should never have been taken off. I think that was a poor decision by our manager. I really do. I think Cherny's a really quality player, and when you've got quality players on the park, even if they're not 100% on form, all they need is that couple of seconds, and they create something, or they get involved with something. And I don't know what Cherny did, or shall we say opposite, what he didn't do. I don't know what he did wrong. To want. I don't know whether he just wanted another fresh player on, and maybe they were a bit worried about his legs. I don't know, but he should never have been taken off. I think he was one of our better players, to be honest. I know he got lost the ball a couple of times, which happens. But you're talking about McGregor. McGregor's like that boy for Aberdeen, Shinnie. Shinnie hardly ever gets talked to by a referee, and yet Shinnie talks to the referee all the time. All the time. And he runs up and puts a hand in your back. How are you doing? And all that to the ref. So, I mean, you can see that's happening. They build a wee relationship up by the game. But in the meantime, they're committing a lot of fouls, double-footed tackles, and they get the break of the ball and all that nonsense, you know. And yesterday, I don't know, I'm going to say this, I don't know whether any of you saw it, but as soon as Hadji came on, there was a big kerfuffle inside the box, and Hadji went to kick the ball, and he was actually tackled by McGregor's body. There you go. He just threw his body at his leg. That's what he did, and Hadji went down. And I thought, well, that's a penalty. That's a penalty. So I don't know if any of you saw that, but that's the end. Hadji was injured at that time and had to go off the park. So I don't know how many minutes he was on, but it was only maybe 5. But there you go. He's just on the park. And that wee McGregor, a body check, it was a body block using his body, and he took the man out. That's just, I know with your referee, think, is that real? That's not a tackle. How can you call it a tackle? What did he do? Well, I saw what he did, and I don't know if any of you seen it.
Okay, do you see it?
I've seen it back. Obviously, there's a lot of bodies in the box at that point, and you just see Hadji kind of hitting the deck, or a boy shirt hitting the deck, and you don't really understand or know what's went on. But obviously, I've seen it back. Raskin has a lash at goal. The keeper saves. There's obviously a lot of bodies in there. The Celtic players are wanting to keep the ball out in it, and the Rangers players are trying to score a goal. So Hadji is going for the loose ball, and Cal McGregor puts his body in between Hadji going for the ball. He collapses Hadji's leg for me. Ball doesn't move, so McGregor's no played the ball, he's played the man. Remind yourself, Easter Road a few weeks back, Southside. I think Hadji had a similar kind of instant, and the referee gave a penalty for Hibs. So I was expecting, you know, and I think that's where Barry's frustration comes up, and his pressure and that afterwards. And I think that maybe why he get booked with the fourth official or linesman, or was it round about that time of the game? I can't really remember, but that's what it looked like for me. Hadji get punished for Easter Road for the same movement, protecting the ball if you want, but he clattered the man, didn't play the ball, so it should have been a penalty for me.
Hey, well, I think if it's all right with you two guys, I think we'll get the phone lines open, and we'll hopefully get a few callers in. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Just to let people know, we have a phone book list. So if you're on the phone book list, a regular caller, you'll probably get through the night. But because the new system's getting changed to, when we're having to change you out to the new system, sometimes new callers won't get through at the moment. So, but if lines are open for anybody that's normally phoning in the show, I'm sure you'll get in this evening. What I'll say on that was on the penalty. They must have seen it obviously back on the monitor in the dugout, because as soon as they'd watched it back, they all come out and you could see them talking to the fourth official. I've seen it back since, and what we'll say is, I wish Raskin hadn't slipped before it. I think if he doesn't slip, he's getting a better shot on the ball. The goalie does all right, he gets a hand to it, which brings it out. But for then on, there's no a Celtic player at that time for me plays the ball. Hadji doesn't play the ball either. He doesn't get an attempt to play the ball. McGregor comes in the wrong side of him. He's no on goal side or anything. He's behind him. And he goes down in the box. There was a few studs and boots up as you look to see when you actually see it getting replayed. So my case would be that he was going to play the ball in the box, and there's not one of the players, especially McGregor, who takes him for the back, doesn't play the ball. That's how I've seen it when I've watched it back.
Well said, pal.
Bridge, agree?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's exactly. You know, it's just they use their body a great deal. You know, I think that's the way they tell. I don't know who teaches them to use your body whenever possible. So a lot of the times when a tackle's been in, or they've won the ball, or the opposition have won the ball, they run onto him and knock the guy. You know, that just, sorry, I didn't mean that. A lot of rubbish, you know. So all these things are all meant. A lot of body checking going on in football, and I don't know how they're going to ever get rid of it. Maybe it's part of the game now, I don't know. But I think it's shocking. You know, players are standing there and they're walking away from the incident, and all of a sudden somebody's battering into them. And that's what they're taking the man out. They're taking the man out of the game for whatever reason. I don't mean viciously in any stretch of imagination with these. It's just going to body check him and takes his mind off the game, you know. This is what it's all about. Murder police.
I just looked at it, AK, obviously, when I had watched it back. McGregor's the main culprit, because he's the one that sort of puts him down in the box. There's 3 other Celtic players round about him who are attempting to block or put a tackle in. But McGregor, for me, was the one that bundled him for the back. But obviously it went to VAR and you don't get the decision, and it leads to Hadji going off with what looked like a knee injury.
Aye, and you seen the frustration as he went down the tunnel as well. He slapped the top of the tunnel. I think that was born out of frustration. Obviously, he would have wanted to start, and that was him no longer in the park, and then he's having to go off with the injury. I hope it's not the same kind of knee that he missed a season a couple of seasons ago. You know, and I hope it's nothing too major for him. But he wanted to make an impact in the game, and that could have been his moment of glory if he wasn't getting the shot away. Then if he wins Rangers a penalty that goes on to win us again, he's done his bit then when he's come on. So he's denied A, a shot at goal, and B, what he thought was an obvious penalty. Because the fact that he's getting half injured, there was a case like that a couple of years ago. Was it Cantwell as well? I mean, he got clattered with Maeda. Should have been a penalty, and he had to go off injured. So if a player's having to go off injured, surely that's telling the officials that guy's actually been clattered. He's been fouled, but it didn't even go to VR for what I recollect.
How you look at it?
Not sure. So, I know I know eventually the ball was cleared up the park. They'll probably look at it next time the ball went out, but I'm not even sure. I can't even remember if I'm perfectly
I don't
honest.
think anybody looked at that penalty thing yesterday. And you watch next week when Aberdeen are there at Ibrox, and you'll see a lot more fouls, a lot more body clashes, just like that. And you'll see a lot more players going up to the referee, patting him on the shoulder. Thanks very much, ref. Blah blah blah, and all that nonsense. Particularly Shinnie. And and he'd make some horrendous tackles. That guy, horrendous tackles. I'm not moaning anymore. Sorry.
Did you think with bringing Hadji on for Bajrami and Ignaman for Tierney, AK, would you have kept? I'll ask you first, and then I'll ask you what you thought the influence that Ignaman had when he came on and played wide right. Would you have took Tierney off?
Aye, I thought Tierney was ineffective the entire game. To be honest with you, he wasn't doing a hell of a lot of tracking back, and he wasn't very productive going forward. He had that shot early in the game, but I don't know whether it's frustration or whether he's not 100% fit yet, or whether he knows his time's coming. He wanted to make another big impact in that magnitude of game. But for me, I thought Tierney had quite a poor game, to be honest. He's one who, going forward, he's definitely been our best player going forward, so I expected more out of him. I thought Yefty got a torrid time with James Forrest for most of the game. For some reason, we seemed to isolate Yefty. Tavernier was getting a load of help off of Suter, off of Barn, off of Raskin, but Yefty was getting left, singled out there a lot of the time, and Celtic exploited that on a few occasions. I thought Barry could have kind of tidied that up a wee bit, but obviously you've got tired legs and all that, so he's wanting to bring on Ignaman and Hadji, and it's positive subs as far as the personnel is coming onto the park, but we don't seem to have the quality to make an impact in these sort of games the way that they do. Their bench is strong. See our best season under Gerrard when we win the league. We had numerous players that could change that game and come on and win the game. Our subs this year, they don't seem to be, making the difference, and I think that needs to get addressed. And obviously that comes with the strength and depth of squad that you've got available to you.
Aye, obviously we've seen what was on the bench, and you've usually got an idea who you think you'll probably bring on that might try and change the game. Obviously, Bailey Rice might not have got on the pitch through the injury to Hadji, but it only took the ref 7 minutes to give him a yellow card. I thought Bailey done all right. It was hard to get into the game at that time. You're coming on in the 83rd minute, but it was good for him to get a game in the first team against them, and gives him a bit more experience, Bridgeman, even though it was a short time.
Yeah, nothing against the lad. He needs to come on and play, and I've said that all the time, preferably from the start, to let him get bed himself into the game. He's on the park, I don't know, a minute or two, and all of a sudden there's a tackle in, and he's booked. And you're like, wait a minute, you're booking him for that? You're kidding me on. That's what honestly shouting at the referee, what are you doing? Why are you booking him? And what's that about? He's only on the park. He's not done anything wrong. There's somebody carried off. Was he like Hadji get seriously injured? No. He took the ball off a Celtic player, or he tried to take the ball off a Celtic player, and that was it. No, he's just an easy target, and that mob got away with murder in a lot of these times, a lot of these poor tackles that they were putting in. It was all there, late tackles, you name it. But I like Bailey Rice. I think he's a good quality player, and he's going to burn the pitches up next season. But if he gets his chances, you've got to give him a start. You've got to start trusting and getting a game a start. We might be able to do that next season. I don't know, but I thought he was unlucky getting booked, and that kind of touched his game off a wee bit. But unfortunately, I think when he just came on and he made a bad pass, I think that's what I was going to say. He just stole in the first couple of touches, and he made a bad pass, a poor pass, not bad, poor. So you need to be able to get in there and be. First pass has got to be a good one, a really good one. So if you can do that, when it lifts your confidence, unless you go into it.
Aye, I think obviously Danilo had to come on because Mondqy, it looked like he took cramp, I think, and with being so late in the game, with just a few minutes left, I think it was just the right thing to do, was to bring Danilo on. But I mean, apart from that, through the whole, for most of the game, AK, I thought we're basically comfortable, you know.
Aye, listen, you go through our team. I thought Balogun was outstanding in defence. He was everywhere.
I might do that in the second half.
That's you get told to shut up, Alec. What do you think? AK, tell him.
Apart from probably the quick throw in that we done right at the end, I mean, Ignaman should probably know better. You know, there's only seconds left in the game. I know he might be thinking trying maybe one last shot up the park, but when Barron's got it and he gives it into Tav and Tav makes a pass, it opened us right up. You know, for as much as we'd kept him, with some great chances in the game and stuff, we gave them an absolute chance to finish the game and go away with the 3 points. And apart from probably one in the first half for the penalty, and maybe this one, which I didn't really blame Tav for, to be honest. I think he should have left it. That he was in goal, and Kelly eventually came to the rescue. I thought he might have squared it, but he chose to try and go himself, Bridgman, and Kelly stopped. So saved the go to the point at it.
Yeah, I think I thought that incident with Tav, when there's no person near him and he's making a crossfield pass, and I think he's actually trying to do a safe pass to one of our central defenders, I think. And what does he do? He underplays the ball, and I think he actually shanked it. And before you know it, it's landed up at Maita or something like that. Maita or something his name is, the Celtic player. And he's a fine player, and he runs through with it. And that's all you need. That's all you need is one of your captain playing a ball like that. Just crazy, just nuts. However, he made up for it by getting back and clearing the ball, and he cleared it right out of the park, which is admirable for him. But unfortunately, it was the other side, you know, and that was it. The referee just blew it. When you're up the park, you get a throw in, and it's inside the opposition half, and it's a draw so far. You've got to make a chance, or take a shot. Somebody must be in a position to take a shot. You don't go back the way. You got to throw in, and what did we do? We took the throw in, and it went back the way. Fine, you got it to someone, and they lose the ball or whatever, and it all goes wrong. If you're not going to go forward with it, and they're obviously the referee going to blow full. As soon as the ball goes out the park, it's going to be full time. So you've only got maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds to get up that park properly and do it. And you don't put it back into your own half, because you're just going to have to build up again. You're up there. Tav was there, and Iganami sitting there, and one of them could have took a free kick to the other. The throw in, and let's get forward. Keep going forward. You got to keep going forward and give somebody a chance. If they get a chance to get a shot at it, you're not going to score a goal if you don't shoot. You know, if you don't put the ball near the goal, you're not going to get it. But we didn't do it. We went back the way, and when you go back the way, you can cause danger. You get possession because you don't know what you're doing half the time. Sorry, guys.
No, it was a pure pass inside for Tav. He sort of stabs at it. He's not really passing a crisp pass. He's been trying to pass the ball back into Bailey Rice, and he gets the boy slides in and intercepts it, and they're on the break. It was crazy. You'd have thought we would try to go forward, down the line even, rather than come inside and pass the ball back the way. I would have thought we'd have flung it down the line, see if we could go either somebody on the ball or get another throw in. But we've just discovered after 10 seasons, AK, that Tav's got a long throw in.
He did have until there was a moment in the second half. We were looking for a big long throw into the box, and he barely got it 5 years out his own.
Exactly. It was quite good, that, wasn't it?
I think he had a bar of soap on it before he threw it. But we got away with that one. It was a poor ball in for Tav, and Maeda pounced on it. He's got some energy in mind. I mean, he's running like that in the 90-odd minute. But big Liam Kelly makes a match-winning save. They're coming out with, we could have get more out again. We should have been out of sight at that point. We could have been 2-3, 1 up at that point for me. But finish 1 each, and I suppose it sends everybody away home happy and safe. So we've just had a implosion for then in the newspapers and stuff. But well, that's what it is.
I think apart from that one in the last seconds of the game, and obviously just before the end of the first half, when we let Ida run through with 3 passes, I thought for on the whole, for most of the game, we contained them well, and we looked like a team that was most likely to score throughout the game. I thought Ignaman had a chance, Bridgeman. He was on, he's in the box, and Scale slips, and I think then, I know there's another Celtic player or two I've sort of lunged to try and make the block, but I think then he shoots, and it ends up he has to sort of stay in the box, and then the ball gets out, and he ends up making a sliding tackle to give away a throw in, you know. But at that time, I think he should just have hit it with his left foot. He had just got that, Scales has just fell on his bum. It's just a case of drill it. He took the touch and he could have drilled it, but he chose not. He tried to cut inside, and when he does that, the chance is lost. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it was. I think he's a smashing player, Gamani, and I think I don't know what we're going to do, but it'd be great if we could have him for next season as part of the refresher at the club, if it goes out that way. I think he's a wonderful player. We've seen. He's a marvellous shooter. He's got a good shot on him. He knows where the goal is, not 9 times out of 10. But he's got to be in front of goal. He really has got to be, confident in front of goal to have a shot. Taking him out the wing, then he only becomes a winger, and the only thing he can do is either bedazzle the full-back or get the ball across. And he did neither yesterday. And then, in fact, they took the ball off him, and eventually managed to make a sliding tackle to give the ball away for a throw in. But really, that and the number of times we see our forwards doing something like that, it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. We're looking for a fabulous pass, aren't you? You know, like some of the passes we used to playing for what was the wee guy? Oh, for God's sake, I can't remember his name. Wee boy that come up for, was it Chelsea he was playing? It's a really small centre forward. Scored a lot of goals for us. Oh my God, he's just retired 2 years ago.
Defoe.
Defoe, that's him.
Jermaine Defoe.
We've got a player like that to target, and we know he takes a ball. You could give him virtually any other than the big high one. So he could take it virtually any ball and bring it down and do something with it. I remember the one he let it come over his shoulder and he just stroked it straight in the net. What a wonderful, wonderful goal that was.
Against Livingston.
That's correct, yeah. But I mean, I just wonder what we've got. What do our players watch? Do they watch any other teams playing? Do they watch anybody playing? I just don't know. You hear some of the stories the guys used to be out in the target practice, go out and shoot for 20 minutes, half an hour, both feet, get in there and do it, but you see some of our boys, and when it's in the wrong foot for them, they're knackered. Some of them are all right. I don't mean they're all the same, and I'm no moaning anymore.
Oh, well, Tesser's had his one chance in the first half, and he took it, so, and it led us to win at half time. He didn't have many other chances in the game at all. It was one of the days for the striker, and I thought probably when we were bringing on Ignaman, and he might have took him off and kept Cherny on, but they chose not to. Anyway, it's time for the tune, guys. So if you two would like to hit mute, we'll hear what the techie team have got for us tonight. Take it away.
I don't know if you can see what the Rangers really mean to me in these last few years. I've been afraid and singing songs that made me think about where we came from. And that's the reason why I feel so very proud today. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row when I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup and Trevor Stephen. Big Marvin Andrews said keep believing. Davy Cooper on the wing. And we remember Gaza with great affection. The day the helicopter changed direction, and Jimmy Baxter was pure perfection. Super Valley scores again. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. Without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, I thought we might have got something for VE Day, but obviously not. I'm sure Albert would have been happy listening to that. AK?
Oh, hey, Albert's got his medals on, and Bridges got his medals on. They've got a tacky boots on. Aye, VA Day. 80 years ago, they brave soldiers across Europe and America won Europe their freedom. Respect to all them for it. So aye, it's a great remembrance day for much of the UK, France, across Europe, and obviously Americans, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. People fought all over the world for freedom, and aye, we thank them for that. We should thank them for it. You wonder what they would say about the world now, though, eh?
There's a few things to say.
Aye. Wouldn't they have? Wouldn't they have? Aye, so I think when you look at the 11 he picked, Bridge, I'm just having a quick think here as I go through it. Maybe apart from one player, maybe. Do you think that's probably what he sort of sees as his 11 going forward to now for the next 3 games? Do you think that's your starting? Do you think that's your maybe strongest starting 11 if we don't play the back 5?
Well, I think based on the players we've got, that team he put out is probably as good as we could get out of that squad and the whole squad. I'm not being funny when I say it. It's probably, I think Balogun in there gives you a bit of strength. And believe it or not, and you're saying this about a guy that's what 30. I think I said 34 last week, but I think he's actually 38.
It's about 38, I think. But
38. So yeah, where we are, Glasgow Rangers, we're depending on one of the oldest players in our squad, if not the oldest, and I think it's a sin, if you follow me. So Balogun's probably the strongest central defender we've got. Suter's a trier, but seriously, if you ask me, that's all we've got. It's all we've got, and that was them. So I can't take anything away from them. That's the way they play. That's the way they are. And they went to town yesterday, and they took Celtic all the way. And I thought Celtic were very lucky to get a draw, in my opinion. We should have been 2-0 up. It's just the way I feel. I do apologise, guys. But bad as we are, as poor as the squad is that we say, and we've got comments on them this, that, and next thing. We do play really good football going forward. I'll say that again. We play really good football going forward. Now, when are we going to be able to go forward and stay going forward? I don't know how we're going to do it because we don't seem to be able to do decent long passes from defence up to the forward line. You're trying to you should be going for defence up to the midfield, and the midfield to start the ball rolling again when it gets up there. Second, third phase doesn't happen for us. Now that's because of the style we're playing, probably. But I love it when Rangers go forward and they stay up there. They stay up there and they work the ball as much as possible. Get great chances, small chances, albeit, but they create chances. But I don't like it when we're all back in our own box. I don't like it at all. I'm not happy with that.
I think the back four suits us, to be honest. Maybe European games or something like that away from home. You can maybe adopt their tactics, AK. But I think while we play most of our football in Scotland, I think a back four does suit us better than the back five, if I'm honest.
I agree with you as well. We look comfortable in the roles that the players are used to certain roles, and even if we are under the cosh a wee bit, we've got the likes of Barron and Raskin that could maybe fill in there and make up numbers if they're getting overloaded in attacks. But I think the back four does suit, but I think what's apparent now out of that lineup yesterday, even though we held them and we could have won, and we had good chances, and VAR wasn't very in favour of us again. The mindset, we can't ignore what's happened before this season, and it's not just been this season, but there are points. We've spoken about it for long enough. We know what we're facing here, but it's no good enough. The standards. Barry speaking after the game yesterday. I don't know if anybody out there that's heard that. I seem to sense a bit of positivity out of Barry that he thinks he's had a chance. He had a meeting with the new guy there during the week. I don't know whether he's gave him a glimmer of hope that he could be our permanent manager starting next season. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know why, because see when you break down the games that he's played with, is that 12 games now? 4 wins, 2 draws and 6 defeats. We've still no won at Ibrox. That's not good enough. Even in the short tenure that Barry's got, and he's still got another 3 games to go. But you're talking 15 games there. And I just don't see where Barry's... What direction is the club going in if we're going to make Barry the permanent manager? Because you look at his track record with Clyde and with Kelty Hearts and with Alloa, wasn't exactly brilliant there. He's made mistakes, obvious mistakes, with formation and changes to personnel. the two brilliant results that stand out for me is Fenerbahce away and Celtic away. The home games, the league games, we went 2 behind at Kilmarnock, 2 behind at Dundee. We've seen at Aberdeen, weren't we? We were struggling up there, and we just don't look a good team. And we just hope that it's new beginnings, new owners means for me a new manager, a new mindset, new captain, full new team. That's what we're looking for. The only positive aspects that I can get out of that game yesterday, I thought our midfield looked very good. The 3 in particular, as I've named before, Barron, Diamondi and Raskin. I thought Big Balogun was outstanding. I thought Kelly, that's 3 big saves that he made in that game, so maybe he has got a future, but knows number 1 is a steady number 2. Dessers scores again, but is he a number 1 striker? No, for me. But these are decisions for the club to go forward with, Southside.
Talking about strikers, I think we've just been joined with one. How are you doing? Aldrin, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Comes off mute. You might get to hear him. Right, once you teach him how to come off mute, we'll probably hear from him.
That's below the belt, you. That's so true. So true.
I'll be joining us in a minute. Well, when you look through the defence there, Bridge, Tav, you'd expect probably this would be his last season, right? He might get another season, but if you take that out of the equation, Balogun with his age will have to go. Suter is under a chance of a contract. I don't know whether they've took it away now and whether they'll let the new manager decide or what, but it's stalled at the moment. And when you look across at Yefty, I think we'll probably still be here next year, and he'll have to learn to defend a bit better, but I think he'll still be here. So when you look across the defence, Kelly probably still be at the club as a backup, and you might be just talking about 2 defenders possibly that will be left to maybe see if they'll be part of the future going forward.
I think that when you look at it, you mentioned Jeffy there. Jeffy really needs coaching on how to be a defender as a left back, a full back. He doesn't appear to be able to take throw-ins properly. In my opinion, this is only my opinion, I just don't see him being able to take throw-ins properly. And he consistently hits an opposition player, with an opposition player with his throw-in. When he's going forward, if he cuts inside, he gets and goes onto his right foot, he actually gets a good run and sometimes marauds up the park a bit and does it really, really well, and that helps him. But see, when you're asking him to go down the line, he doesn't really have as much pace as we think he has, and he gets caught. So when you're playing really good teams, they've got really fast fullbacks. Well, we're not one of them. We don't have really fast fullbacks. So if Yefty does, don't get me wrong, when he's in a bit of space, he can get the ball across and he looks quite good. But I do think he needs to be coached for his defensive side of the game. And he's what he's doing on the park, where he is on the park, who's round about him on the park, and so on and so forth. And to learn how to take free kicks, not rush free kicks, not free kicks, but throw-ins, not rush ones. Don't go and rush in and do it, so on and so forth. But be aware where your players are and take a decent throw-in.
Aye. I just think Yefty, I think he gets himself into good positions, but I think his crossing's been pretty poor, AK, for most of the season. He does all the hard work, gets himself up there, but his crossing, he's really been pretty poor, to be honest.
Aye, I'd agree with that, mate. I mean, we looked at Barisic for a few years there, and he had his critics as well, but if there's one thing about Borna, he could deliver a mean ball into the park. His engine was brilliant, getting up and down as well. He was contributing him many times at Tavernier, goes into the back post for the 2 of them to basically cross it to one another, ends up with a goal. I don't see that out of Yefty at all. I thought, as I say, I thought James Forrest don't know what age he is, but he gave Yefty a torrid time for me yesterday. But for some reason, Barry didn't recognise that, and we left him isolated a hell of a lot of times. So that I put that down to more today with game management on the park, and Barry no recognising that off the park. I mean, your guys in the midfield and defence should be saying, "Hey, come on, pull in here a wee bit. We're getting doubled up out there, and Jeffy's getting exposed." So there's a lot of that to learn with the team, but that comes with leadership. And for me, Raskin looked head and shoulders above everybody because he was in the referee's ear. See that middle of the park? I think that's where your captain has to be now, to have some sort of influence on the official, because that's where Cal McGregor gets away with murder with Nick Walsh and whoever else is refereeing. So I think you could be looking at Raskin. There's a possibility that he could have suitors to come in for him. I think you go to the wee man and go, right, they're another year or 18 months on your contract, and you're the captain next year to keep him. That's what I'd be doing.
I think not a bad shout, Southside.
Yeah, it's
a really good shout there, actually.
He's got 2 years left in his contract, and I think it's probably a discussion you would have to have, because at the end of the day, we got him with 6 months to go. I know we paid a fee for him to release him with 6 months to go, but he obviously ran his contract down where he was before. Standard Liège was it, I think. Not sure, can't remember. But so you don't want him to go to a final year of his contract. I wouldn't think. So I think but down to the new manager, obviously, when he comes in, he might just think, no, I don't want him, and I'll take the money and I'll build a team, or I'll get central midfielders that I want. But should he want him, then I think we have to have a discussion, Bridge, regarding a contract extension. Hold on, we've got the striker back in. He said 2 misses. He might score this time, we'll find out. I know he's on mute, so if he comes off mute, we'll hear him. Davey.
Davey's actually shouting and bawling.
I'm hoping he'll come in. As I said, he's there, but he's not speaking, so we'll find out what the problem is. Bridge, so what do you think regarding his contract? Would you offer him an extension?
Oh, most assuredly. This has been his best season, and he's showed on the park. I'm not saying he's the best player in the whole world, so I'm not trying to herald him as something, but I think he's probably the most positive player we've got in the team at the moment. And for me, he's a certainty to take over from Tavernier as captain. 100%. He's a natural. Unless we go and get a really, really big centre half that knows what he's doing, and they're really good players, that's where I would always make a captaincy at centre half for me. They can read the whole game, they can see the whole game, and so on and so forth. But there's none of them that we've got. I would make captain. I wouldn't do it. But I think that young lad could do it. Raskin is super player for us. Now, definitely end the season, renew his contract. Have my eyes.
Right, I think we've been joined by Bob Gia, and Davey's still there, but for some reason we're not getting to hear them. Are you there, Bob Gia? No, we'll come back. Finney's can
Bob Gia and Davey have got the same problem.
Yep, they'll get the same problem, so if one of them can sort it, or we can sort it out, and once you're free and you just shout in, and I'm sure we'll bring you in. Don't know what the technical issue is, but something. I think we have to go and look at centre-backs. I think that's what we need to look at, as Bridge keeps banging on about. You want 2 dominant centre-halves that are good in their own box, but also good in opposition box, because I think the one thing it's let us down this year, although yesterday we looked no bad at set pieces. There was only a couple. I think Cherny put a cross in that was poor. Didn't beat the first man. But I think in the last couple of games in that, we've managed against them, we've managed to put in decent crosses, but we've lacked all season with goals for set pieces.
Oh, undoubtedly, mate, undoubtedly. By the way, Tavernier's delivery and yesterday a few times was excellent, and right on the position where you want to put it, where the keeper can't come for it, and the defence is kind of a wee bit, up in the air about who's going to meet it, who's going to clear it. So Tavernier's delivery in a couple of times yesterday really caused them all sorts of problems. But Balogun was the guy for me that was causing them the threat in there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know Balogun's missed a hell of a lot of games in the last year, and he's unlucky, obviously, with the cheek injury that he picked up in Bilbao. But for the wage that he's on, for the influence, positive influence he would have in that dressing room, is it worth keeping him for the backup? I don't think he's a starter, but I think he would possibly do a good job. And I see Suter in the same position. I don't think he's a starter for us either. I think Proper will probably, hopefully, put him back to Holland. And then you've got Inciala there. Their table. It just depends down to finances and what direction the new manager. Hopefully, it's a new man. Do you see Barry getting kept on at all, guys? Did you hear his presser yesterday? Did you get that impression that I'm picking out? What's your own thoughts, Bridge?
Well, I never heard his presser, but I'm going to go and search for it. Honestly, if I'm not being funny when I say this, so I think I can speak for a lot of Rangers fans. If we've got a Rangers manager, seriously, if we've got a Rangers manager that can win a game at Ibrox 5 times in a row or 6 times in a row, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong with our mind that we've got a manager that can do that. So that's Barry's record. I don't know how many he's lost. Ibrox, probably 5 or 6. We've lost to Ibrox in a row now. So that is a horrendous record. Maybe the worst ever in our history. And that's not doing him any good. So if you're going to ask someone, would you keep Barry Ferguson? Then I would personally say no. We need someone 10 steps above Barry Ferguson to run Rangers. That's what we need.
He says the right things. He says everything that, when you're listening to him, I think we can relate to a lot of what he's saying when he talks about the players. When he turns around and says, I mean, if Clement had come out and said, listen, I've spoke to the players individually, collectively at the time, when they were doing the same to him as what they're actually doing to Barry. And then he came out and says, but I don't know how when they went across that white line, how they carry out instruction. He'd be getting slaughtered. And he covered it by saying, well, we had 10 shots in target, about 15 shots in target, and we only scored 2. It's no matter, basically, we were attacking. He didn't ever come out and say, this is how it is. I spoke to them, but they're not carrying out instruction. They'd have been going, well, how are they not carrying out your instruction? If they're not doing what you're telling them, and either you have no influence on them or it's time for you to go. And it's similar to what Barry said. He's doing the same thing. I spoke to them, but they're not doing it sometimes with what I tell them. But he's getting a pass. You know, he's not getting the awkward questions back for the journalists, I don't think. But there shouldn't be that issue. There shouldn't be a problem that players don't carry out instruction, AK, when they go in the park.
100%, mate. And by the way, you can go back further than Clement and Barry. Beale said similar at the end of his tenure. Gio said similar at the end of his tenure. And Gerrard, in his first 2 years, he was tearing his hair out. You know, so that seems to be a theme here. So it needs to get eradicated going forward. Somebody's having a bad influence in the changing room, and you can't get away with that at Rangers. You've got to carry out managers' instructions to the best of your ability. He's a guy that carries the can for the tactics of formation and all that. But I believe the players have been getting away with murder for a long, long time. And basically that's what Barry was telling the support. They can, you know, do all the analytics and, you know, put the best fitness on for them and drill them, give them the best of food. You know, they're staying in first-class hotels, they're travelling first class. They're doing everything proper to be a first-class team, and we're not getting the results that the investment is carrying into it. So something needs to change and change drastically. Personally, I think we need an entire new clear-out I know we've been speaking about it for a long time, and obviously we can't get rid of everybody, but we need to get rid of who we think has been bad influences on that dressing room, and go for there. But Barry's right in one sense. Season's finishing in 2 weeks' time, right? And I think the European qualifiers are middle of July. So all of a sudden you've got about 6 weeks or something to prepare a new team, a new squad, new ideas, new people in position. That's not a long time, mate. So things need to start moving and moving quickly.
Yeah, we will have to. I think we can, before speculated on who we think will leave and who should be leaving and ends of contracts and stuff. But I looked at the midfield yesterday and I was looking at Bezrami, Diamande, Raskin, Barron. Obviously, Bailey Rice comes into that because he was added in late on in the game. But that seems to be the nucleus of our sort of midfield, and I believe you'll have to add to it. I'm not saying you'll have to sell any of them to add to it, but we do need to add strength, height, power, pace, I think, into the midfield. Regardless, Diamande is the only player that we've actually got in that team that can take the ball deep and get you up the park or run about brighten up play. He gets a bit erratic at times and stuff, but he's the only ball carrier I think we've got that gets us up the midfield bridge.
Yeah, one of his strengths, isn't it? Getting in about players and winning the ball. And he's got a strange way of winning the ball sometimes. You think he's falling, but he's actually doing it deliberately, sliding, on his own, gets the ball and manages to turn on his bum and stand up and get away with it. Definitely is very industrious and a lovely left foot. Unfortunately, I think he's put the right boot on it sometimes when he takes a pass. But but I do think you're right. If you get the ball to him, he can. Just what we're saying. Our defence should not be trying to kick the ball over the top of a guy. So as far as I'm concerned, Diamande should be able to do what he's doing and receive the ball from the defence, and that gives them a chance to turn and run. And he is a really good runner with the ball. And from then on, you're going to pick up players. You're looking for players, you pick them up. We just don't want to. We're kicking the ball over the guy's head, and all of a sudden he's out of the game, and you can't afford to have that. One of your better players out of the game. So we need to be able to use them properly, and good defenders will do that.
What do you think, KK? Do you think we should, if a bid comes in for Raskin that's decent, we sell him? And if a bid come in for talking, say, Diamande, do you sell him? And then you try and invest it into better players, into stronger players? Or do you think you offer Raskin a deal knowing that a bid will come in and you'll maybe no stand in his way, but if he's part of the process for next season starting, or even gets made captain, then and he's willing to sign, then you give him a contract. I'm not saying give him a 4-year contract. You maybe give him a 2-year extension on these 2 years he's got left. And Diamande's the other one that are playing regular, and he's had good games in Europe. Who would possibly attract attention?
I would. It's decisions that's going to have to get made. You look at Raskin's age. I think he's 24. So he's just coming into the kind of peak of his career. Obviously, he's got ambitions to play into a higher level. He didn't hide that fact, and I don't mind that, to be honest with you. I mean, good luck to the boy. He's getting to levels where he wants to be. He needs to be to springboard himself into the kind of higher leagues across Europe, whether it be England or whether it be France, Germany, Spain, Italy. They'll all be to keep an eye on him, particularly when he's breaking into that Belgium international team. Personally, as I say, I think we look to protect our asset, and people will be sniffing round about him. I think to keep him, to entice him to stay, I think he could be a year, 18-month extension of contract. Obviously, I need an increase in wage to help him there. But he's your biggest asset. Czerny, he's, what is he, 5, 6 million, 7 million that Wolves seemingly want for him. I don't think he's a good investment going forward. He's been okay. His numbers has been better than, say, for instance, Kent's or that, but I thought Sima was probably a better suitor for us last year. If you gave me the option of getting Sima back in, I would rather have Sima in the team than Czerny. Possibilities, possibly getting Aribo. I know we spoke about him the other night. Is there possibilities now that Southampton have been relegated at the Prem that he could be looking for a move back at Ibrox? I would have Aribo there. All of a sudden that gives you good options going forward, but there's a lot of serious discussions going to be had. I mean, who's to say the likes of young Robbie Fraser couldn't come back and get that left back spot after Yefty as well, Southside? So there's got to be a lot of discussions getting made, that's for sure.
I think Robbie Fraser will come back a lot more experienced playing at Livingston this year, regular game time. It'll come down to the new manager if he wants to give him a chance. I wouldn't say no, because I've looked at Yefty's performances and I've looked at Ridvan when he's been playing at left back. If I'm honest, I think if the two of them are fit and you gave me a choice, I would probably play Ridvan, if I'm perfectly honest. I think he is a better defender, and I think he shuts players down better, a bit more experience obviously than Yefty, but I don't think Ridvan will be here in the summer. I believe Ridvan will go back to Turkey, so I'm not expecting him to be with us next year. That's just my opinion. I don't think he'll be here. Gives Robbie Fraser a chance, but I think if you're looking to build a team and the manager, depending on who that will be, they might look for maybe more physical players, but there's no reason why Robbie can't come back and fight for his place and be a squad player. But you could fling in certain games. There's no reason why Robbie Fraser couldn't play in some of the league games at Ibrox. I think he'd could handle it no problem, Bridge.
Yeah, I thought so too. But, I have to say it was unfortunate because Jeffy did hit a good streak of form, and Robbie wouldn't have got a game. I'm afraid that was the case, and it was definitely good for Jeffy. But at the present moment in the form Jeffy's in, I don't think he's 100% anywhere near what he was earlier on the season. So Robbie Fraser would be a welcome change. I don't think we're ever going to see Ridvan again. He's badly injured, and I just don't think he's ever going to come back to Rangers at all. I don't. I think a deal will be made and let him go. That's what I believe. It's only me, and I think young Robbie would be good to come in. And I believe if he gets his chance, he'll take over from Yefty, because Yefty flatters to deceive sometimes.
It's all about giving them chances, and I know pressure's on, and the way we've changed managers and players playing well at times in the system. And it was the best move for him probably to get out on loan, because, like you say, in hindsight, obviously the two of them got injured and suspended and whatnot, but he wouldn't have got much game time unless he came in and really played well over 2 games or something like that and was trusted. But I just think maybe the year away at Livingston, AK, might help him, and obviously we're hoping that the new manager will maybe see and carry players like Finlay Curtis and Bailey Rice forward that have been on the periphery of the team, and Bailey getting a chance and Curtis getting injured in the cup final there the other week. I don't know how bad the injury is, but possibly no see him now until maybe next season.
That's a pity for the young lad there, because I was actually hoping that he could have been included at the game yesterday, but not to be. Hopefully it's not too bad as you say. But I think Robbie Fraser, that was good that he got the move, because he needs competitive fitness so as to help with his development. Obviously, languishing in the academy, the B teams with limited games, but he's getting, so playing with Livingston, who are going for a championship there. I think they've still got games to play, playoffs. They just missed out to Falkirk, so it's competitive action that he's getting. It's a man's level that he's playing at now, not a wee boy. So hopefully he's had the development required, and he comes back a far better player. I'm with you as well. I think Ridvan we didn't see him for what, 3-4 months or something before we even seen him on the park. Obviously his wage, I think it was about 4 or 5 million, a transfer fee. So he's been another one of the buys where we've lost more money financially than what he's gave us on the park. So if we can come to some sort of deal, he'll go back to his homeland where he's comfortable, and we've got possibilities in for Robbie Fraser to fight it out with Yefty. And if it's a choice between the two, mate, I would rather be seeing the young Scots boy rather than a Brazilian that's going to be struggling.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Yefty went into Cyprus on loan, and we paid money from him. And he's Brazilian. He's a left back. We're going to progress him. And he's going to make mistakes. He's young. He's learning his trade. He's been putting in a lot of high-profile games while he's been at the club in his first year, which we would have spelled him throughout the season, probably with Ridvan. And there was times maybe Robbie Fraser could have filled in as well for him. And it just so happened that he'd been into a run for him and he was getting a lot of game time. But he's like any young boy. He's been exposed to it all season. Whereas we could have exposed Robbie Fraser to that experience as well. But what we do is we choose the foreigner that we buy and we bring into the club. And the young boy that's playing left back doesn't get his chance, really. That's why I keep saying some of the young boys try and take a chance on them. They're not always going to be good every week. They'll make mistakes, but they'll grow and they'll get better. And hopefully when the new manager comes in and we hopefully improving the squad with quality, not everybody will leave that we think might leave, and there might be opportunities for one or two of them to find their way into the manager's plans bridge going forward, because at the end of the day, they should be our project players, you know, and we should try and look to buy a wee bit more seasoned player, even if he's 24, 25, but somebody that's been in for a while, maybe even won a league or competed for leagues, won a couple of trophies somewhere, a bit more experienced players, maybe even a couple on free transfers that we might be able to get and bring them into the club. But we shouldn't really be going down the road of projects anymore. We need to get back to winning trophies, get players into the club that know what maybe have tasted success somewhere else. Yeah,
the youngsters have got to get their chances. 100%. I've always said that. They've got to get their chances. They've got to be within the team. Now, I don't know what the manager's plans are to. It should be a couple of players, 3 or 4 youngsters. How many subs do we get? Is it 7 allowed on the bench or something like that? Well, a couple of them should be young boys, the better players that could get into the squad. You get used to sitting on the bench, talking to the senior players, and so on and so forth. And then first chance to get, you're going to come on as subby, and so on and so forth. The way you bring them in. Many people think different ways of bringing on youngsters, but they must give them games. You've got to give them games. It may start off as 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, then you're going to get 15, then you're going to get 30, and so on and so forth until you get a wee start. But that's got to happen quite quickly. But we must, as Rangers fans, we must take cognizance of the fact, and I'm sorry for the youngsters, we have to win games. We have to win games. And you can only start to bleed the youngsters, excuse me, when you can't carry anyone. But because of the way we are now, you can't really carry anyone. But you get a decent squad, start scoring goals, winning games, the confidence grows. You can bring your boys on for 20 minutes and let them go. So you can bring on 2 youngsters and give them a chance. And that's the way I think it works, or should work. I think it's worked like that in the past. And I'd like to see that happening. But I don't like to see young boys getting thrown in, which a couple of times it's happened. We know that youngsters get thrown in and you become dependent on them because they've got a wee hot streak and all of a sudden they don't do it anymore and you don't know what to do. So for me, bring them in, lead them nicely, and away you go.
I think you do, but probably what we've done with NCR like a point. You know, he get cost a goal the boy used his experience against him, St Mirren boy, when he gave him the wee nudge. He let the ball bounce, which everybody in the stadium at the time thought, don't let the ball bounce. Obviously, against Kilmarnock away in the very first game, Barry walked in. He could have took any of the defence off, any of the three of them, but he chose to take the young boy off again. And that's what normally happens. But it was good, the fact that he's came back in, and he'd had a couple of really good games, AK, and then obviously we go to St Mirren, and he should have probably took a step forward and headed the ball. Or if he was going to use any part of his body, he should have used his foot and hoofed it up the park, but it came off him, which led to a goal again. And then yesterday, he chose to go with experience, with Balogun and Suter. But the boy's still got a chance, I believe, as well. He's young. He's got the right sort of height and physicality. It's just about getting more game time and hopefully less mistakes. But I think we might still see him before the end of the season.
There's every chance there, aye. Because, well, as many times you've heard the support on forums and podcasts, I mean, what does it matter now? It matters a lot to obviously the paying public, the Rangers support that's going to see, but you can see for the perspective of league games, it doesn't make any difference that way, we're winning, drawing or losing. We're going to remain in second position that way. So this is possibly the time when there's no pressure on the players to maybe give the boys a chance here. But Bridge is right in the sense, to get the best out of the youngsters, you've got to be putting them into a team that's fully experienced pros and in a good frame of form and mind. And we've not had that for a long time. And you know, throwing boys in certain games, and there's pressure on them because there's expectations of a result, and we must win. And it's a harsh reality of pulling on that jersey, and people can either sink or swim. And there's better players than the youngsters that we've been thrown in this year have sank and no handled the pressure and moved on to do better at another club. But listen to Diamandi's interview before the game yesterday. I don't know if you caught that one, guys, but he was telling everybody this is him playing I think he says his 50th game this year for Rangers, and that's the first time in his career he's had to play that amount of games. So you're right, Southside, in what you're saying with the youngsters that we're leaning on, Ayefti. He'll never have experienced that vast amount of games, and every game is a must-win, and you've got to win with a certain style, and it's just a demanding club and atmosphere, but this is what you sign up for. That's what it means, and that's what Barry is and the coaching staff is trying to get through to players. It doesn't matter the level of opponent that you're playing against, we must win. You know, so it's an entirely different mentality that all these foreigners coming into our club, whether it be players, whether it be managers, whether it be director of football, guys above, we start losing our DNA. So I'm keen on getting, and you know, leaving Neil McCann in there and Al McGregor if Barry's not getting the job, because you need that sort of continuity right through the club. We've got Kevin Thompson dealing with youths and that, and we've got Stevie Smith there and with the under-18s. So we've got that. We've got to try and get that right in the pathway up to the first team for the youth. But we need to start getting the first team right, because we've neglected it for too long. We've invested in corporate lounges and suites in Edmondson House and all this and that, and we've neglected the product in the park. And that's what Rangers Football Club is. It's about the football club, not the business.
I think you can go to a point with Edmondson House and upgrading the Sky Lounge and all that and stuff. But I think it's basically come down to, we've thought we've been buying the right player, and we haven't really bought the right player. And we've chopped and changed managers after short periods of time. And as you said, Diamandi's saying he's played 50 games most in his career. And I thought he'd have a better season this year, but he needs to kick on. We gave him a 5-year deal, so they obviously seen something in him, Bridge. And you have to do the same, like I said, young. was flung in at the deep end basically to play the amount of games he's played at the level, because he hadn't played at this level, and in the short space of time of games, the actual league, the physicality that he's got to adapt to, his body's got to learn to play these type of games in short spaces of time. He's probably been tired and mentally tired this season, but we've had to use him. So I get all that with some of the young boys. Ignaman's the same, just come in this year. This is his first real big season playing. We expected not to see him for a while after his injury, but he's been sort of flung in, he had a purple patch, but he's still learning, and he'll probably be better for next season as well.
Yeah, I think there are two specific players that I see will be better players next season, and Igamani is one of the ones. He's already done some great stuff for Rangers this season, and he'll commit with a close season. You know, they only need to go through a close season and get close season training. You've got to get it. Anybody that's played football knows they hate it. It's a really difficult time for your body, but it's got to be done. It sets you up and it gets you in the right frame of mind as well for football. And you've got to be match fit. During that time, you've got to be fully fit physically and match fit. And away you go. Things will happen for you after that. But a lot of these guys have come in and they've never had a full season, a full close season with Rangers to go through the full fitness regime. And yeah, you're right. But you can see with Yefty, he looks good going forward. He really does look good. And as I said earlier, I think it's brilliant when he cuts in for the left, going inside and matching up with Raskan or someone like that, but his actual defensive side of the fullback, we can see there are some parts of that quite weak, and he's not got the presence. He doesn't know where he is sometimes, and he always ends up. You can see it sometimes. He always ends up letting the defender take the inside look, and you're shouting, "Get him! Go get goal side him!" That kind of thing. So yes, another youngster that, well, as I said, we actually end up depending on. So I don't know how many games he's played this season, but I'll tell you what, it's a bloody sight more than he would have played anywhere else, and that's for sure. So he's a youngster that's going to play a lot of games. I think Southside, you said Egamani too. These guys have never done it. They're only young lads, and to get into first team football in any league and play the amount of games that they're playing is absolutely phenomenal. However, we do need to see the results of that in a positive way. So it's up to the players to pick up in a close season and make sure they get the training done. As if they're still here, and maybe get transferred out because they're good players. I don't know, but I hope when they come back next season, you're going to see a difference in the players. I think Yefty's 6'1", and you would think he was only 5'5" or 6. He doesn't jump for the ball. Sometimes when it's coming to him, he jumps and you see him heading, and you think, why can't he do that all the time? It's because he doesn't actually know where he is. So he doesn't really know where he is on the pitch and who's next to him. And that only comes with, shall we say, unless you're a really fantastic player, you've got all that presence. So you've got to build that up yourself. That's all I've got to say.
As I said, it's all about getting the experience and that, and playing at the club and the demands. If you look across the back four that played yesterday, if you think Taft's possibly away, Suter will have to fight for his place. You'd expect Balogun, Ridvan, he'd go, Jeffy probably still be there. So we do need to get and buy two centre-backs straight away. We'll need to look at the goalkeeping position. I think we'll probably find Jack Butland will probably go back down the road. I believe that's what will happen. I think somebody will come in, maybe even Birmingham or something like that. And I think if Birmingham come in from, then he'd probably be tempted to go back down south for his family. And I think money we could get in for him. But I think priority-wise, that is the goalkeeper, two centre-backs. And whether you're even considering Robbie Fraser, in a way we really need two full-backs. I'm disappointed that Sterling's out now, AK, with Achilles, because I would think that'll keep him out to about September time. So I don't think we'll see him anytime soon, which I feel sorry for, because I still think although he done all right in midfield for a bit because we needed it. We needed that. I wanted to see him at full back, and I think in a couple of the games he played full back, he was good. But he never really had get any run in the team because he always seemed to pick up an injury.
No, you're right. You're right, mate. There's a possibility of possibly cashing Werner coming in for next season too. So hopefully that deal materialises and he could be the natural replacement for Tavernier. But as you say, basically we're looking for the goalkeeper. The spine of the team really needs strengthened for me. Goalkeeper, your two centre halves, possibly a dictator of play in the park and somebody that can carry the ball forward and link the play to the forwards. And for me, I still think we're weak up front. See, I'm looking at the table now, mate, and it doesn't make good reading. Obviously, we're 17 points behind them, but see when you see the goal scoring difference between the two of them, Celtic have scored over 100 goals in the league. We're 71. You know what I mean? So we're over 30 goals behind them in that stake, and we've conceded 15 more goals than them as well. You know, so that goal difference alone gives them that advantage right away. The first quarter of the season, they seem to pummel teams. I mean, up until the game yesterday, they'd racked up 15 goals there in the last 3 games. You know, so when Celtic put the foot in the throat of the opponents, you know, they really did punish them. We've not done that. When you're kind of blowing smoke up Desser's backside, his numbers are decent for the last couple of years, and he was at 47 goals he scored. It's an okay return, but for me, no as a first striker, as a second striker. But we need goals for other areas of the park as well, as you say, with set pieces, corners. When was the last time we scored off a free kick outside the box? Tavernier's numbers have dried up there. We don't seem to score off corners, although we were merry a threat yesterday, and we had been a lot of games this season. But even, you know, midfield, Diamonde, Bajrami, Raskin, Barron, barely got a shot at goal between the lot of them. So we really need to up the numbers and put the pressure on right for the word go, right for the first game, and you know, break it down in quarters and see where we are. But we need a lot going for us, and there's a lot of business that needs to be done. Not just players coming in, but also players going out, and obviously the wage bill getting reduced again, and then see where we go for there. But we've been saying this for how long, guys, and we seem to be back to square one again. So there's a lot of stuff needing to be done.
I think we did miss slightly. I know you touched on him, but there's no way I'd even want him back. And I don't think he would come back. Was Joe Aribo, who managed to get his numbers up, or even assists, but managed to get his numbers up in goals. Midfield, we lacked terrible for goals. Even when Scotty Arfield was here, you know, he wasn't that creative player, wanted to go and beat 2 and 3 men, but he just ghosted in the box and knew where the net was and scored goals, Bridge. So we probably need to up that. We need to probably have a couple of midfielders that we get going forward who will be a goal threat and can get numbers.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. These are the kind of words that we've been saying most of the night anyway. Now, obviously, you look at the midfield we've got now, and based on yesterday's performance, quite good. But they're not going to be, they'll not be able to take all the steps that are required to go up the way in quality. We're looking for that quality to come in, I'm assuming. But Raskin is there already, just about. I think Connor Barron is not good. I like the boy. I think he's a smashing wee player, but I don't think he's a top quality midfielder. And Diamonde's quite good. I have no complaints about him as footballers for the current squad. But if we want to be a better team and start to want to bring people in, you don't bring people in with the quality of Connor Barron and Diamonde. You've got to get better. You've got to get another couple of people at least the same quality as Raskin, or more, because you know, you've got to get decent quality players in. We're looking for a whole defence, in all honesty, a whole defence, goalkeeper, fullbacks, and centre halves particularly. We all know this, and so in one way or another. I know we get by with the boy Kelly made a couple of smashing saves yesterday in the last game as well. But through the game, there was a couple of wee cracks in his form, and he made a few mistakes, and he never came out properly for one. It could have caused him a problem. However, we're there. But I don't know. I think one of you mentioned that Buckland's gone or is going to go. So I think we could have written that our sentence in that book 2 weeks ago. I don't think Buckland will play again for Rangers. I don't think so. But we need someone of the quality that he had when he came. Somebody that quality. Now, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that boy that was playing for them yesterday. I've never heard of him. I don't know where he came from. Sorry?
You go, Bridge.
No, I was going to say, I've never heard of him, and their goalkeeper. And yet he's playing well. He played a good game against us. So we can't seem to find a goalkeeper of that quality. We need to find them. We need to find them soon.
I thought our goalkeeper yesterday was all right.
I'm saying Kelly had a really good game yesterday. No problem.
I thought he flapped. I thought he flapped at Raskin's header, if I'm honest. You know, so
their goalkeeper.
Aye.
Yeah,
no, I don't think. I think we could have put more pressure on him yesterday. Obviously.
Oh yes, there's many ways we could have.
But we didn't. I'll ask you a question, Bridge. If you did, right, we need to get back to winning in Scotland, right? We need to score goals.
100%.
And I know the minute I say it, most people will be screaming out there. But you listen, if you're a goal scorer, you score goals. And last year his contract, if you could go and get Shankland, would you take him?
Only if he's free.
Aye, we'll be free in the summer.
Yeah, go for him then. I'm not going to. I don't want to say to the board, don't go and buy Scottish players. That's my personal feeling. I wouldn't. It's because I don't like any of the other clubs. All these other clubs absolutely detest us, and they just want to take money off us. That's all they want, in my opinion. However, a lot of guys that sit with Copeland Road, they all like Shankland, and they think Shankland should be in Rangers team. They like him. There's others don't, of course, but a lot of the guys I sit around about me, they all like Shankland. And you guys, all on Scottish and Rangers Radio, nearly every one of you like Shankland and think he should be with Rangers. When the Rangers should go and do a deal. But I'm happy they never went and gave £5 million at the beginning of last season, because that's what Hearts were looking for, £5 million. I don't know what they would get from now in the open market, because he's not the same player as he was at the start of the season. So there could be a big difference there, and Rangers might get him if his contract's up. They might be able to pick him up. So there'll be no money changing his hands at all. It's not a youngster. He's got a bit of a development fund to be paid. No, he'll be straight into the Rangers team, and that's fine. I'll take that. I don't want to go against anyone. For me, I wouldn't go and buy him, because I think he's 32, 31.
29.
Yeah, he's got 2 years on, what I was thinking. So, yeah, it's still just past the peak year of 28. So maybe 29's a new 28. But I think he's wasted in a Hearts team. For the quality I've seen him, when he was last season, he was excellent, an excellent player. And now he's just half the player, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, the Rangers fans want him and the Rangers board want him. We'll get him.
You don't lose the knack of scoring goals, I'll tell you that. And he scored 2 at the weekend. Anyway, we've came to that time of the evening. AK, your final thoughts?
Aye, good show, mate. Good show. Obviously, we're just getting to the end of the season now, but thanks to yourself. I know the Techie boys are having a wee hard time in the background there, but they're trying hard to work on it. Apologies to the guys not being able to come in there, but thanks to yourself, Bridge. And for me, Shankland, I would say aye. Why no? Bring him in. He's a bear. He knows where the goals is, and I think he was a wee bit despondent this year because he didn't get his move to Rangers, so aye for me.
Bridgeman?
Yeah, what can I say? Smashing night tonight, Southside Magic. Thanks for the AK for carrying me. And of course, the Techie boys in the background, they're doing a dynamite job, truth be told, as AK said. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world listening in here, I thought we should have won the game at the weekend. The game was ours, as far as I'm concerned. Game was ours. And I think we got the victory stolen off us. And that's the way I look at it. So forgive me, I don't mean to sound too biased, but that's the way I am. That's the way I feel. Can I say to everybody, please keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers are our team and they really need the fans. So everybody keep it going for Rangers and stop throwing the bottles.
I just thank you two guys for joining us tonight on the show. I'll just put a shout out to Free Oxygen. Get them free. Apart from that, I'd like to thank you two guys for helping us out tonight. I thoroughly appreciated it. Sorry to Davey and Bob J. Couldn't get to hear you on the show tonight, so hopefully we can get that sorted. It is a wee bit out of our control as well, but hopefully you can phone back in tomorrow or something, we'll get you on. Just like to thank all the troops on YouTube for joining us this evening, everybody else out there who's listened in this evening. We'll be and thank Fox and Old School Blue for the technicals. So we'll be back on tomorrow night at 8 PM as always. Hopefully we'll get some people on the call. So as always, thanks for listening, and there's only one team and one crown. Take it away, take it team.